folks, coming at you with something a little bit different than normal. The goal here is to show everybody what we're trying to accomplish over at alphawolftrading.com. And I don't like sharing P&Ls and all that stuff, or boasting about how much I make in a trade or how much I make in a day, because I really don't think that that has any significance on what someone else's portfolio may do. But just for the sake of showing people that the system that I'm trying to teach people at alphawolftrading.com does work, I'm going to go ahead and this one time show everybody my P&L. So here we are. This is this entire week's trading in this particular account, which is my swing trade account. Now, the important thing to see from this P&L is that my trade commissions are very reasonable, $41 for my commissions, and that is why I like swing trading as opposed to day trading, because you just don't get eaten up in a bunch of commissions. With swing trades, you have to have the patience to let the trade play out. So let's just go ahead through these one by one, and then we'll go to the charts and take a look as to why I took the trades, what setup I was looking to play, and see if and what exactly the goals are of the trade. So the first trade that I took was in Chesapeake Energy. They had gotten an upgrade. There was a significant insider buy, I believe, in the $5.50 range. I didn't take a lot of shares. Took 200 shares at $5.87. Why did I take the trade? Because I was looking for a round number roll over 6, and then I wanted to see that hold as support, which it did. I still have the shares. I have not sold them. I'm looking for more of a move in CHK, and hopefully that will develop next week. The other trade that I took was in GEO, which happened to get pounded on the federal justice system, coming out with the report that they're going to move away from private prisons. And I will show you why I picked $16.58 as my entry, and why I picked $20 as my initial first exit and $23.47 as my last exit. That trade there netted me $512.45 for the week. GGB is another one that I took this week. I still own the shares. I bought them at $3.15. They closed at $3.15. I'm flat on the position. Explain why I took that trade. Here is a stock that actually was a swing that I took at 96 cents for a $1 roll. My stop, or my limit to sell on here, was $1.15. Now, I also own here in my long-term portfolio, long-term hold portfolio, where I bought those shares at 87 cents, or 87 or 86 cents. So those shares I still hold, and are in my long-term hold portfolio. So those are still in play. As you can see, if I made $285 on the 1,500 shares, the shares that I have in the long-term hold portfolio are doing even better. Life was another one that I took at $3 for a swing, and just sold 900 shares of that at $3.77, $3.70, and made $217 there. Live, which is a garbage stock, knew it was a garbage stock, made 12 bucks. I didn't lose money, but I didn't really make any money, but that's okay. It was 200 shares, and it opened the day, or let's see, I sold it at 252, and it closed the day at $1.97, so it was a good sell. I didn't lose any money, but did manage to make 12 bucks. Woohoo! Happy meal. And then the other trade that I took this week was SCYX. Took a couple thousand shares and wound up taking home $595 on that trade, and I still own 200 shares. So let's go ahead and take a look at why I took the trades, how I took the trades, and we'll take it from there. So let's close that out. And let's go to Geo first. And, you know, listen, the important thing about this is I didn't throw a lot of money at this Geo, right? I did not throw a lot of money at this Geo. I bought 100 shares, 100. Could I have bought more? Sure. Could this stock have continued tanking and gone to 10 bucks? Absolutely. Could it have been halted? You bet. Could it have been halted for an extended period of time? Yes. So there was a lot of potential risk with the stock. So, but I also thought there was a tremendous amount of opportunity when you get these crazy, crazy events. And part of this goes back to combining some fundamentals with technicals, right? This stock opened the day at 32 bucks. That stock, the news came out and that stock started to plummet. Now, in the chat room, I started saying to the people in the chat room, maybe this thing could find some support at $20. And because it's a nice round number, 20 bucks, looking for it to find some support there. It tried to find some support on the 5-minute at 20, was unable to hold that support and continued to break down. So what did I do? I went back and I looked at the weekly. And by looking at the weekly, I was able to identify that back in 2012, 1650, which also happens to be a half number, right? 1650, I'm big on round numbers and half numbers because they seem to have psychological meaning for people, right? So looking back, I'm looking at it and saying, look, this thing looks like it could find some support because in 2012, for many weeks, it held as support, right? And then eventually took off from that area. So it stood to reason for me that this may be a good place to throw some money at it. So I put in a limit buy at $16.58 or 57 cents. I put in a limit buy at $16.57, and I actually sent that out. I did not send that alert out. What I said was in the chat room, $16.50 could be a good bounce spot for Geo. See, it's my belief that the chat room shouldn't be about telling you when I buy and when I sell. It should be about idea generation. And by sending out to everyone in the chat room, you know, 1650 could be an area of support. It's my hope that the people in the chat room are going to pull up the chart, take a look at it, and come to the same determination that I did, and then evaluate how much they're willing to risk on that particular trade. So what happened? Well, the stock came down to $16, and actually it broke through that $16.50. Let's go back to the daily. Broke through that $16.50. Actually got down to $16.23, $16.30, somewhere in that area. Now, what was I willing to risk on this trade? 50 cents, right? If it went to $15.99, I was going to get out of the stock. Okay? And my target to entry was $20. Now, why did I come up with $20? Well, came up with $20 because $20 on the way down was a nice round number that I thought could act as support. It didn't. It tried to, but it wound up breaking down. But that is also where the VWAP wound up being on the 5-minute chart, was at around $20. So what I was looking for was a snapback to the VWAP on the 5-minute. Now, let's just bring back the trade. Where did I sell it? I sold it at $20, exactly where my target was. I held half of the shares to the following day, thinking that we could potentially get a red to green move. I was thinking the company probably would come out and try to defend the stock. Did also my own research that, the federal contract for this particular company is 11% of their revenue. And these contracts are not 1-year contracts, they're 5 years in duration. It's not as though this company is going bankrupt tomorrow. So it was an overreaction to the news, right? Which created a tremendous opportunity. And you're not always going to find these kind of opportunities, but it was a really nice opportunity with a very minimal amount of money thrown at it to make a very nice return in a couple of days. Okay, so that's the geo trade. So it was actually a snapback trade to an area of long-term potential support. Now let's go to the HEAR trade that triggered pre-market. So to explain this trade, I have a trade plan laid out on Alpha Wolf Trading for the pro members that explains why I got into this stock. It explains my entire plan, my stop, where I have my stop placed, where my entry is or target entry is, where my target to scale is, and where my second target to scale is. So currently on the shares that I have in my long-term hold account, I have another limit sell already set. I got this one to execute at $1.15. Now those shares that I took in the short-term swing account, I actually bought at 96 cents. Like I said, the other ones in the long-term hold account, I bought at 87 cents, which was down here back a while back. And I continue to hold on to those shares because I like the action of here. And I think that I'm going to get this retest of $1.35, maybe up to the 200-day moving average, but I'm looking at this area of potential support and then potential resistance. I think we go up and test that again. So the first area to scale for that short-term swing account was $1.15, which I set a limit sell there. It actually sold pre-market. It didn't sell during the trading day, but it sold pre-market, got the 115. I like the turnaround story for this particular company. A fund has been buying the shares at $1, bought 3 million shares at $1. I like $1 rolls. So that is why I got involved in here. Let's take a look at GGB, which is currently a flat position, and it's moved quite a bit. Okay, it's up into an area of potential resistance. Could it pull back? It absolutely could. What I'm looking at is the fact that we could pull back to this $2.67 or so before it finds some resistance. The reason why I decided to go ahead and get involved, I only took 1,000 shares. I didn't go real big in the position. I took those shares because of the fact that it's testing a 3 roll. It broke out over that 3 roll. It broke out over $3, and now it's consolidated, right? There was an upgrade on the stock, I believe, from Morgan Stanley to an overweight on this particular stock. I like the way all the trend lines are sloping up, and I think it has potential to maybe go up, test 350, okay? Or maybe, so I think you're going to find some resistance right here at around 350, where I would likely scale out some of the position, and then I'm looking for it to potentially go up and test the $4 holler, which is a nice round number. There's been a lot of accumulation in the stock, a lot of the green accumulation going on here. So could it be temporarily overextended? It could. If it pulls back to 267, I may look to add to my position. If it just blows right through 267 to 230, where there's more of a significant area of potential support, I may look to double up my position at 230. Okay, I'm not worried about the daily movements of this stock. Okay, I know that it's got some good momentum behind it. I know that there's, Morgan Stanley, reputable firm, giving it an upgrade, flirting with, $3. The steel sector was hot. There some negative press on AK Steel and United Steel. That happens all the time. You get these people that try to, after a nice run, try to bring them back down to earth. That happens. But I'm comfortable with this swing position. We'll see how it plays out. If it were to really tank on some significant bad news, I would take the loss, right? If it pulls back to 260 and it's on massive volume, I may just look to cut my loss and move on. But that was why I got involved in GGB. Let's look at CHK. Chesapeake Energy. So a director bought 50,000 shares at $5.60. I'm looking at the fact that you've got some pretty strong price support, potential price support in the 550 area. The moving averages are starting to slope up. You just had a 50-100 EMA cross. $6. I love the $6 round number roll. Where do I think it can go? $6.46. That's where I may look to scale. If it takes 646 out with conviction, maybe $7, right? $7 holler. So I'm just kind of waiting to see how this one plays out. I may add to the position if it broke out over $7 with some real volume, real conviction. We'll see. But right now, I'm just comfortable holding the couple hundred shares that I bought and see where this thing plays out. See if it goes up to 646, find some resistance, 650. If it does, maybe I look to get out. But I don't think the guy that bought 50,000 shares at 559 is looking for, a move to 646 and he's going to get out, right? I'm looking at the fact that it's broken out over this long-term trend. It's over the 200-day moving averages, 200-day moving average. You've got the shorter-term moving averages sloping up. I'm thinking that this could be potentially a really nice trade. If it breaks out over that 650 with conviction, where could it potentially go before you find some other congestion on the daily? I'm looking at $7.83. That's a real good target for this stock, and that's a pretty good clip, maybe 750 here, right? That's a nice little clip from where it currently sits and worth holding on to see if we can get that kind of move. All right, so let's go to, I'm going to do one more and then I'm going to call it good. I think this pretty much makes the point. SCYX. Okay, this is the one that I took 2,000 shares of. Oh, and by the way, this is my swing account. I also took 1,000 shares of this in my long-term hold account, and I'll explain why. So let's bring up the P&L here real quick. So I bought the first 1,000 shares. I bought at $2.36. Okay, and the second shares. So actually, I'll tell you, I meant to buy 1,000 shares. For some reason, I hit 100 at 241, and it didn't go through as 1,000. So I had to buy another 900 at 242. So the average cost on this is $2.40. I wound up selling 1,000 shares at $2.60, 20 cents, $220, right? Not a bad little quick trade. Held 1,000 shares till the following day, and then I put a limit sell on the following share on those shares at $2.99. That actually triggered pre-market. So 500 shares went at $2.99 pre-market, and then I sold another 250 shares at $2.81. So that wound up netting me $5.95 for the week, and I still hold 250 shares. Plus, I have the 1,000 shares that I bought in my long-term hold, and I bought those at the same time that I bought these shares at 237. So 237, I still have 1,000 shares in my long-term hold account. I've got 250 shares in my swing account to let them play out. But let's go ahead and take a look at why I took the trade. CEO picked up, CEO picked up 100,000 shares at $2.39 in June. Now, this is a note that I put back there on the chart back in June, and I did not get involved in it back in June, primarily because this is one hell of an ugly chart on the daily. It is in a clear dominant downtrend, right? So I did not get involved in it, but then some news came out last week. I think it was an upgrade on this stock, and it gapped up. And listen, it's difficult to take a stock that only has 10 million shares in the float on a gap up. That's losing 56 cents from the last quarter. But I also know that the CEO bought 100,000 shares at 239. So let's go to a 3-window chart, and I'll explain to you why I got involved in the stock. And these are the things that I try to teach people at alphawolftrading.com as pro members. So this is the 15-minute chart. This is the 5-minute. So let's go back to the 17th on the 5-minute. Okay. The one I was really paying attention to is the 15-minute chart. So had a nice big open, pulled back. The second candle on the 15-minute chart stayed within the upper range of this first candle. Then we got a nice tight indecision candle almost here, right? And let's see what that price was. Just happened to coincide with the VWAP, right? This is the VWAP, the orange line here. Happened to coincide with the VWAP, and that's where I pulled the trigger, okay? I was buying it at the same price, or trying to buy it at the same price that the CEO paid. I actually got it for a couple of cents better. Held the VWAP, and then volume started to pick up a little bit, started grinding higher, right? Riding the 9 EMA. Got another volume spike, went up to 270 or so, and that is, let's see, where did I sell it? I sold the first portion at 260. So sold some at 260, and then I wanted $3 out of this thing, 299. That's where I put my limit sell for the next portion of it was at 299. But this is why I took the trade. And now I still have 250 shares plus 1,000 shares in my long-term hold account that are up and looking really well. So these were the trades for the week. I think that the really important thing that I want people to recognize is A, you don't have to take 1,000 trades in a week to make a decent living. B, you don't have to spend, $500 in commissions a week to make a good living. Sometimes patience is the best type of trading strategy. And this was actually a pretty choppy week in the market, and it was a great week. I mean, those are all the trades that I took for this entire week. So if you like what you see here, okay, if this type of trading appeals to you and you would like to learn more about it, come check out alphawolftrading.com, and that is the mission. It's to build a community of people that are great traders. independent alpha wolf traders that are not relying upon other people's alerts, but know how to identify these opportunities and execute on them. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at tim@alphawolftrading.com. Have a fantastic weekend. Be safe. Have fun. I'll see y'all down the road.